Hey everyone, so I'm Clayton with the DeFi Users Group, and we're here with Patrick from Outlet. He's going to tell us a bit about his project. I'm the head of DeFi with Masendo, and Tom Howard here is the Chief Strategy Officer. And Patrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do with Outlet and maybe explain what it is to people.
Okay, sure. So Outlet is essentially a better bank account that's built on Ethereum. And what I do at Outlet, I'm one of two people. I code a little bit and do essentially all of the marketing, any kind of content that you see, things like that.
Okay.
I'm more in charge of like the website, whereas my co-founder, he's more into like the mobile side. And we are a mobile first app.
Okay, so let's break down that thing that you said about a better banking on Ethereum.
Sure.
My understanding of Outlet, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that you will allow people to take their bank account balance, like in the United States, for example,
Mhm.
and be able to earn DeFi type returns on that balance without having to buy DAI and put it in a wallet. Am I right so far?
Uh, In a way, yes, and
Okay.
then let me correct this second half of it.
Okay.
So essentially, yes, you can transfer any U.S. bank account, what's the word I'm looking for, value inside your U.S. bank account
Hmm.
into an outlet account, right? And what's happening during that process is actually your dollars are being converted into DAI.
Okay.
So these these dollars here are DAI, right? And DAI is equivalent to a dollar. So in theory, we have created a better bank account by instantly lending these tokens out to these lending protocols. And essentially, what we do is we guarantee the dollars behind the DAI, and from there we have something that looks, feels, and acts just like a bank account that happens to be built right on top of Ethereum.
Okay. So when somebody takes, so I might go into my bank account and initiate like an ACH transfer. Is that how that would work?
A little bit different than an ACH. Like, so we're using through different APIs to essentially just hook it up. Like, it's just like a regular send. You can think of it as ACH, but essentially it's just a typical send, just kind of like you're sending money from one account to the next. There's
Okay.
nothing special you have to do.
So let's walk through that user experience a bit, and before we actually get into that, who is your target user? Is this for crypto people, or like who's it
So
for?
our target user, we think our power users are actually not going to be crypto people, to be honest with you. We think our power users are going to be people who just have enormous amount of money sitting in their bank account, not getting a return on it, right? Like, we're not saying to our customers that we're the best way to get a return on your money, right? Other people have different ideas of what an investment is meant for them, right? Like the biggest investment tool, or the most popular one in America, I would say, is definitely a Vanguard fund or something around those lines, like some kind of
Sure.
ETF. And we're not saying like, oh, we're better than them, but we're saying if you want to buy them or you want to move your money in some direction, we're a good place where you can hold it and still maintain like an enormous return on, as opposed to just getting killed by inflation.
Of course.
So this is for people who have some significant amount of money in their savings account, and they're earning like less than 1% interest on it.
Yeah, it's
And
really for anyone, to be honest with you. There's no minimum, but yeah, it's for anyone who has some type of money sitting in their account and they're sick of the banks kind of just giving them nothing for losing them. And if anything, honestly, banks, like a lot of times you have to pay them just to put money in their accounts and get no return on it. So we're kind of coming in there and innovating inside that space as well.
Sure.
okay, and so is this just for the U.S. or is it open to any country or?
If you have a United States bank account somehow, you're able to use it. So essentially, like these dollars are getting converted into DAI, and at that point, there really is no boundaries upon who can use it and who can't. But going forward into the future, we might have different ways where you can just import a wallet or do something like that. But right now, it kind of works. So the user experience is you essentially open up our app and you select how much you'd like to deposit. You take a look at the rates of what's going on at this moment. And from there, you're able to deposit as much as you'd like. And essentially, everything happens on the back end where you don't even see anything or really have to do anything at all. And from there, your money starts earning interest just as it would like in a DeFi lending protocol.
So So let's say that I've got $10,000 in my bank account, and I send it to your account or your protocol, right?
Yeah. So essentially, what you would do, though, just to back that up, is just 1 second,
Please.
is like this. It's not necessarily our account, right? We're making separate accounts for every single individual user.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. But yeah, keep.
And what's the time period? Like, how long could I have that money in there, and how long would it take to get it back into my bank account?
Sure. So it depends on your bank, first of all, in terms of the send and the receive.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, if you want to send it to us, it's almost near instant, right? Like there's certain banks that our API provider has where it's like it'll work kind of like on a credit. If you're good enough with them, they'll essentially send the money over before it actually debits from your account.
Right.
And if you know you're good for it. But it can be as fast as like 1 day to do both, like withdrawal and deposit, and vice versa if you want to deposit and withdraw. And yeah, so it could be up to like 4 days, but it's also as fast as 1 day. It just depends on your bank that you're particularly using.
And so walk me through that experience. Like, does the user go log into their bank and like type in the bank account numbers for Outlet, or do they log into Outlet first and then initiate a transaction? How does that all work? And how does it turn into DAI?
Yeah, so what happens essentially is this. You make an account with Outlet, and then from there, our API provider Plaid, they allow you to essentially log in with your bank account in an encrypted way. So we don't save your bank account's password or anything like that. But let's say you have a TD account, right? And so you click on TD within the application, a bunch of different banks are going to pop up. You click that, you sign into your actual TD account, and from there you're able to easily transfer it over into our accounts. And essentially it works like that. And once money hits our accounts, our smart contract is triggered to go send your funds to other smart contracts, such as DeFi protocols.
Okay. And as far as so I've sent my money. I can probably log into my Outlet dashboard and kind of see what's going on. Is that right?
Yeah, it's going to be I typically people think of dashboard, and I think web app, but it's actually a mobile app first. We're going to have a web app as well, and it's going to be hooked up to both the same account. But in order to actually make the deposit, you're going to need to use the mobile app.
Okay. And okay, so you're using the mobile app, and then what about keys and wallet management and things like that? Is that something where I just have a traditional login and password, or am I managing wallet keys?
Yeah, so that's like one of the main reasons we haven't launched as well too, is because we're still fiddling around with exactly how we want to do that. But essentially we have two different models that we're kind of working out, right? And the truth is, because our product, we want almost everyone to use it, we don't know if allowing them to save and store their keys is a good solution for everyone, right? Like, take a look at Coinbase, for example. You know, I think a big part of the reason why they are the biggest players in the industry is because they are actually a little bit custodial. Sure. And it makes people like, it's such an easier experience to kind of sign up, log in, and that's it. You know, it's very fast, as opposed to like all these different security warnings and vulnerabilities that comes with, you know, owning your own keys. And if these people are crypto noobs, I don't know if that's going to be a good experience for them. But then again, you know, like a lot of hardcore crypto people and DeFi people, they want that non-custodial experience. So that's something that we're kind of running back and forth, and we have both flows made. Okay. So essentially, we're using another API where it allows us to kind of your phone number is essentially the way that you can get back to your keys. And from there, it's like super simple for different people to kind of like, either you can move your whole wallet, that's fine, or you can kind of, you know, just check up on them, I guess. You have access to them, but they're not like given to you first thing, essentially.
I see. Yep.
And so it sounds like you guys are kind of doing some of the trading between the US dollar and DAI, and then you're also going to be custodians of their keys, maybe.
Perhaps. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. So what are your plans regards to regulation in the US?
So essentially, we're all regulatory. I believe we're entirely regulatory fine at this point. So our different API providers, they have requirements, and from there, we're good to go essentially. So we now meet different requirements that were set for us, and at that point, we're going to ship our product. We're just, again, like fine tuning very small details, figuring out from like potential customers what they think would be a better experience, and how can we, like fit in between their lives, right? Like I personally think something like take a look at it like a ledger, for example, right? Like that's probably the most non-custodial product that I could think of. And it becomes a headache even to like store that little piece of paper, right? I think, I don't know if everyone would like that in a mobile app first experience.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's the biggest like thing that we've kind of been teeter-tottering with, is that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen with a lot of crypto apps that the seed phrase is probably one of the highest churn rate screens in any crypto app.
And it's like too, like if someone loses it, then we can't necessarily help them like we initially planned, and then this person's funds could be gone into like oblivion for, for some time. And that's not like the kind of experience that we want. We want to really be a bank and guarantee these people's money and, like back them up. So yeah.
So you mentioned that at the beginning about that you were able to guarantee that the dollars in the account. Is that FDIC insurance, or what is that in reference to?
So we are not FDIC insured. That is something that we kind of definitely need to do in the future. We understand that if we want to like maintain this conversation of even considering us to be a bank. But the truth is, we feel at this point that it's something that we need to do, we know, and we need, at the same time, we need volume within our accounts in order to move forward with that process, so we can figure out how to go about it and what tier insurance we might need and different things like that. But yeah, that's like, there's a few things that are going to happen post MVP with our product that, and that will definitely be one of them.
Okay. And now I'm curious about, what would you describe as the major difference between opening a Coinbase account, buying DAI, sending that to MetaMask, and then loading that onto Compound, for example? How would you compare that process to Outlet's process?
Sure. So we do all of that actually for less and very quickly. So essentially, you're able to do it within like 2 different logins. So you make an account with us, and all you need to do is log in with your bank account, and then set your amount, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to worry about anything, right? But the difference between Outlet and a typical like aggregator for these loans, something like Instadap is doing it now, but we want to aggregate the entire industry of DeFi and make sure people are getting the best rate, right? Mm-hmm. Like we also want to be profitable from day one. And we think that by managing this entire process and introducing new people into the field and giving them this better bank account that have never had experiences and even like heard of something as ridiculous as like a 16% interest rate bank account, we think that, taking 10% of the interest earned is like a fair compensation.
I see. And so the returns that your users will get would be variable in the same way that Compound's rates are variable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So right now our site actually says up to 10%. And that was something we were kind of playing with too, where it's like people weren't believing us. Like we would go to different finance events and different, like industry events and talk to people and get out there and really, really speak to people face to face. And a lot of people were thinking instantly we were scam because they've never heard of DeFi or Ethereum or anything like that, or thought that this is even a possibility. So we figured that capping it in some sort of way would more so attract these kind of people. And even though the interest rate, like right now, I think the supply rate on Compound is like 16 point something, or at one point was even like 2 days ago. But yeah, I mean, like something like that is really unheard of in traditional finance. So. Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, I think it actually got pretty close to 17. I don't know if it crossed over or not, but it is pretty wild. And it's funny that, It's funny you mentioned that because I tried to post kind of a lead in about DeFi explaining what it was. And I was like, yeah, I'm earning 16%. And like my post got flagged and removed from the Facebook group I was posting it into because people assumed it was a scam.
Yeah, I think a lot of people especially on Facebook, I think that like a lot of people are instantly turned off by like just the word crypto, you know, because there's all these people who are just like trying to scam people like continuously.
Yeah.
We have a Discord for our old product, Fora, with like 1,000 people in it or so, and like at least once a week we have one person coming in and private messaging every single person in the Discord saying like, hey, do you have 0.05 BTC? You know, like that's all I need to double it, dude. You know, like just these ridiculous things.
Of course, yeah. So it's difficult when you're promising these kinds of rewards. And I see your point. It's almost better to under-promise and then surprise people rather than turn them off because it sounds too good to be true.
Yeah, exactly. We were having a lot of flake in person.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's dig in a bit into your journey, how you got here. You mentioned an old product that you were working on. When I first met you, you guys had basically just come up with the idea for Outlet at a hackathon, and it was like the very early stages of it. So it's been really awesome to see. And I think that was actually 2 or 3 months ago. So you guys have come like a pretty long way in a short period of time.
Yeah, I don't even think it was a full 3 months. I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
It's been quick, man. So essentially the journey, I guess I can sum it up like this. So I had this one website where I would essentially buy things for crypto. So that was the idea of the site. So it was like, hey, if you have an old iPhone, like, dude, just sell it to me and I'll give you Bitcoin. And that quickly, like, that kind of had some product market fit. And we were getting to the front page of Reddit and everything. And essentially I realized, okay, this doesn't really scale at all. So I wanted to build more of a marketplace for something like that to happen. And we built a marketplace. So I found my co-founder through Reddit, actually. And he's been a badass dude and has really helped me ship different pieces of software. And essentially, we got into the Y Combinator hackathon in San Fran right when we were thinking about Fora and what's the future of Fora. So Fora, truthfully, no one wants to buy stuff with their Bitcoin. Like, no one wants to buy stuff with ETH. Like, I can't blame them, you know? I'm not over here spending ETH on a used PlayStation or something like that. Like, it's just not really a thing, and it's not a burning need within a market. So Fora, after doing Fora for about like 10 months or something like that, we quickly realized, even though we were getting users like every single day, it wasn't anywhere close to making real money and building a sustainable organization, which is what our goal was. So we were kind of like searching for new ideas, and we built this one thing. It was essentially a way to get a loan on your Bitcoin for USD. And at the time, we thought it was really revolutionary because we were going to use Chainlink and you're going to get straight up Bitcoin. Even now, like you see some of the lending protocols are now providing like wrapped BTC on the ETH blockchain. Mm-hmm. And we were thinking about like just forgetting all that and just giving straight up Bitcoin, you know, using all this new tech and doing all these cool things. And we got it pretty much built out, and we quickly realized like, okay, now how do we issue these loans? You know, like, there's an issue here that we have with issuing the loans because we don't have any money. So our first idea was to tie into different liquidity providers and essentially like say, hey, we have this opportunity where you can earn this amount of interest, you know, just let us borrow some crypto and to fulfill these loans. And we thought to ourselves, you know, that's not a good consumer facing product in comparison to like what Outlet could be, right? Like, if we can kind of build up one side and grow the entire market cap of DeFi, that would be a bigger opportunity as opposed to just allowing people to kind of get loans on their Bitcoin, right? Like, we wanted to be the DeFi aggregator. We wanted to be like DeFi for everyone and kind of open up the gates to the whole world, honestly, and build a super simple product for people. And that's kind of where we're at now. So, yeah.
So I had a question for you that David Craig had asked me. He's a big DeFi community organizer. He asked me about taxes. Basically, like, my understanding in the US is if you buy crypto, that's considered a taxable event, and then you're also earning the interest. And then if you sell the crypto, that's another taxable event, et cetera. So I'm kind of curious if an American uses Outlet, how does that look from the tax perspective?
Sure. So it is essentially your funds do get transferred into crypto, and it would follow traditional crypto US tax laws. But at the same time, like, we're trying to get people involved in our application where they're sending it, spending it, doing things where like they would do with almost everyday regular bank accounts, right? And you almost never, I mean, I would like to think you almost never go broke and spend everything in your bank account, right? So we want to kind of make sure like these withdrawals back to another bank account rarely happen, and that's kind of what fine tuning of Outlet is going to kind of look like, is to figure out how we can kind of like keep in-app spending, keep in-app different things, and you know, that could be introducing many different APIs, many different things where like you can even use it with all kinds of stuff, man, like Apple Pay, anything.
Sure.
Really excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's certainly something that we're looking at.
Sorry to cut you off. Further into that question, we do want to integrate with some existing crypto tax software at some point to kind of make it really, really easy for our customers to kind of like press a button, there you go, you know, you're taxed up, and that's fine. And that way you can just file. But yeah, we're gonna have like different guides on how to do it in the interim.
Sure, and actually, relative to other crypto activities, that would be a pretty straightforward process because it's a limited number of transactions, and then the interest is going to be pretty obvious. It's not like going onto Binance and then going onto KuCoin and trading a bunch of ERC20s, which have different USD values. So it's actually
like one account. So we think it's going to be even a simpler way than like traditional traders in crypto would have to face.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited for the potential for your product to basically bring dollars into crypto that are on the sidelines. You know, the people that are sort of curious but aren't willing to put in the time and learn all the ins and outs.
Or people who are just looking to like get a better return on their bank accounts.
For sure.
That's going to be the main users.
Yeah, and then it opens the door, like you said, for people that suddenly now they have the DAI and they have access to an entire ecosystem that they didn't before. So it's a good gateway drug into the whole system.
Exactly. And it honestly makes sense to almost not withdraw your funds all the time back to bank account because, like you said, it is a taxable transaction at that point, right? So if you can figure out different ways to kind of like use these assets, it's going to create a better product for not even just Outlet, but like all of DeFi. So
Sure. Well,
very cool. How far along are you guys? Like, what's the status of your product and company and all of that?
We're going to launch in probably like 5 to 6 days, honestly, is like where we're kind of gearing up. That's going to be V1. That's going to be our MVP. So we're super excited. And yeah, so you'll be able to check it out. We'll definitely, we're trying to give out different promotions for people who sign up, you know, like first week of launch or like before we launch. And we do want to have, the idea of like a pro account, right? So we face fees actually to do business, and our fees are kind of expensive actually to transform like dollars to DAI and vice versa. So essentially, if you have an unpaid account, you're going to face a 2% withdrawal fee. And if you sign up for a pro account, which is going to be $10 a month, you will not have that with 2% withdrawal fee.
I see.
So
straightforward, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You know, we still think it's well worth it considering traditional bank accounts only have like, they have like, I think the industry average, actually, this is a fact, is 0.09% interest in the US.
Yeah, it's
so it's not even talking about 10%. So, you know, and you have to pay like $10 a month for that sometimes. So,
sure.
You know, we're up there playing with them. Yeah, so that's kind of our pricing and where we're at with launch. Like I said, it's just fine tuning very like minute flows and kind of getting on the same page with our API providers at this point.
Nice. So I just wanted to point out it's July 27th right now, so 5 or 6 days would put us just at the beginning of August, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, somewhere in that range is exactly when we're going to launch. You know, like I'm not setting a hard date just in case something does happen, because we're using external tools to kind of make this happen, right? Like good DeFi products, I think, are going to be like these middleware products, right? Like from the protocol layer all the way down to like, you know, all these different. There's going to be, I think, centralized solutions even at some point. Like BlockFi might open up their funds or something like that. Like I think there's going to be a lot more money kind of flowing in and out between DeFi, and there's going to be a lot of good products coming out, I think, soon.
Yeah, for sure. And if people want to join the community for Outlet, where do you suggest they go?
Yeah, I always suggest you join our Discord. You know, I'm in it every single day, like every single hour of every single day, even. I'm always on Discord. I'm always on Twitter as well. You can follow me at my personal Twitter. It's actually in the footer of Outlet. I just think it's a better way to reach me.
Okay.
The Outlet Twitter is kind of just for like company shout out stuff.
Sure. Okay, great. And then the one question I like to ask everybody is like, you're at a Christmas dinner and like your distant relatives, like an uncle you don't see often and knows nothing about crypto, asks you what you're working on. How do you answer that question?
I would say building a better bank account. And from there, you know, if he has something smack to talk about Ethereum, you know, school him real quick. But other than that, yeah, I would just say a better bank account, man. Like we're trying to make a very traditional product with new technology and do it in such a better way where like the banks aren't really going to know what kind of hit them at first. And so, yeah, that's where we're at.
Right on. Well, looking forward to using this. I think it's going to be super relevant to the people that are watching this video. I know it is to me, even though I'm an advanced DeFi user. There's still there's still a use case for this product for me as well. So that's cool. Tom, did you have anything else to ask, or do you think we covered it all?
I think we covered most of it. Yeah, super excited for the launch. You know, I've got a US bank account, so
nice.
I'll hook it up and try it out. Can't wait.
Yeah, same. Yeah. So right on. Awesome work. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us, and we look forward to the rollout.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Cheers.
You guys.